trash talk everybody else? They're lame, you know what I mean?
Zoie just called me. She's like over there.
I see. I can't answer the question of where I want you. It's but it seems like we have Zoie and Rachel. Let's
so many chairs. We were literally sitting in that green room being like, I'm not so late. We're here. Okay, here we go. Guys, we're color coordinated.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look at us.
I wasn't told.
We're the best.
Someone told me.
What did we all do together?
I don't know. So we're here to talk about Winona Earp.
We're here to talk about Winona Earp.
Oh, yeah. Because they're going to be on Winona, right?
On it now. Yeah.
I think that was an exclusive.
There's so many people here.
A lot of these people seem to be Lost Girl fans.
Has anyone not seen the show and was like,
Is there anyone in the audience who's never seen Lost Girls?
You! Alright, you come up here and answer everything.
I'm upset with you.
Spoiler alert, she's lost.
She's so confused. She's like, where is the bathroom?
I want to talk about the making and the forming of this show, because this show is so important, which is, I don't know how many of you have had to describe this show to a friend and be like, so there's this girl and she's a succubus and everyone wants to have sex with her and everyone she touches gets really turned on and she has sex with everybody and then there are other creatures. So you're like, this is explaining the show, but this show is so important, especially a show that you have said never says what anyone is in terms of labels. How do you decide, I'm going to make the most important show ever?
Yeah, how did you decide that?
First of all, my name was Michelle Libretta. No, she's not here because she's such a jerk. She's making this other show called Killjoy.
Whatever.
And I do, if she was going to be here, I would just bust her butt, but she's not, so I have to be nice to her, which is the worst. But I want to give a shout out to Michelle Libretta, who is the creator of Lost Girls.
You also were a huge part.
I just took it from her.
And ran.
But it is insane in the best possible way that this show got onto the television. I mean, that it was just so awesome, and I really think it was. It did feel important, but I feel like Michelle in particular created the show, was very clear that she wanted to have a woman who was bisexual but didn't necessarily define herself by certain labels. And she just never compromised on that, you know? She's a very cheerful person, and she would talk about a lot of stuff, but she always knew what the show was going to be. And we are lucky to come from, I don't want to oversell it, the greatest country in the entire world. Before you cheer, where luckily TV executives executives were like, okay, but there's lots of leather, right? Sure, sounds amazing.
We'll talk about the leather.
But yeah, it was amazing, and it just felt like a certain group of people came together at the right time and were really supportive of it. And we cast so brilliantly, if I do say so ourselves, that it all just seemed to come together in this magical land.
When you took over, though, you had to continue this message. And at any point did you go, you know what, I want to go this other direction, but we got to make sure we don't lose anything?
I feel like I definitely probably made different choices than Michelle would have made, but I was incredibly respectful of the vision that Michelle had put down, and she had this certain set of kind of like rules, which she would be loath to call them that I knew were important to continue. But also, we were lucky enough that we could see what was happening with certain characters and certain relationships, and it seemed really necessary.
What relationships?
I can't But it seemed really important that because I took over in the second season, that we knew there was that Docubus was supposed to had to be super important, and felt like everything was looming that way, so to speak.
Let's talk about Docubus. Zoe. Sorry, I'm just picturing scenes in my head. Sorry. Zoe, did you always feel like Docubus was the right way to go?
Of course.
If I'm very honest, no. I mean, and here's what I mean by no.
Yes.
When I say no, what I mean is no. No, what I mean is what I think I love so much is that in the vein of not identifying characters on the show and not sort of referring to people as gay and bisexual and straight and not doing that, I also love the idea that there wasn't an agenda.
Yes.
And I think that speaks to that. I think that if there was an agenda, that it needed to be Bo and Lauren, then you lose what we constantly keep talking about. So, and I was always open to whatever ending it was. And it had to have been Dyson and Bo or some other. I think we're not.
Read the room.
This, yes. What I mean is gay. But I think, like, in the vein of things being just whatever they are in this world that we live in, that is full of different people, of different genders, of different ethnicities, of different religions, I loved the idea that it just could have landed wherever it might have landed without an agenda. It ended up with Bo and Lauren, which was lovely to play, and obviously, I think for the audience, very fulfilling.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate and understand that as well. But yeah, no, I didn't have my own private agenda. No.
That is so Rachel. Our Valkyrie, her story evolved so much throughout the show. And we got to see her go from, dare I say, heartless? To dare you? Dare I?
She dared.
I'm sorry. Yeah, heartless to a mother.
Yep.
What a huge transition. Had she not, spoiler alert, to the three people who were here, had she not passed
You, who hasn't seen Lost Girl.
during childhood,
What are you still doing here?
had she not
Welcome you. We welcome you.
had she not passed during childbirth, what would you have liked to see? Because she now is a kid, and the woman that she kind of wanted to be with chose some other woman. Where would you want her to be? Raising a child with Dyson?
Still an open road.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it would have been really interesting to see Tamsin as a mother. I think it's interesting to see anyone go through the transition of, being on their own to then having to care for something that they have given birth to or adopted or whatever, just becoming a mom. And Tamsin is so honest in her emotion and her experience, and I just think that would have been quite remarkable to be able to see. But I also didn't necessarily have an agenda for the end of Tamsin, although I had asked either for her to sort of just go out in flames, it's true Tamsin style, or to find what she had ultimately been looking for, I think, on her whole journey, which was just love and acceptance and a peace. And I felt like the writers somehow managed to give me both, which was really, really neat for me. And so, even though I died, I was really happy with it. It was actually killing me because everyone was asking at DragonCon, I think. They're like, "Is there a Lost Girl movie? Like, would you be in the Lost Girl movie?" And we already filmed it. And everyone's like, "Would you be in it?" And I was like, "Yeah."
We don't know where the Lost Girl movie would start from. It wouldn't necessarily start from where we left off.
It also could do flashbacks. Flashbacks to scenes we never saw. So newly shot flashbacks.
Sexy ghost. I just want to say... I just want to say that Rachel's... I've been present for 3 live births of human beings in my life. Tamsin giving birth was the most traumatic thing ever. I was like, she's actually having a baby. We should get a doctor. I'm really competent. I can't do this. Yeah, that was the performance of the series for me. I was like, holy cow.
Exhausted by like mad respect to anyone who's had a baby because I was faking that
Nobody
shit.
has done anything that you
I was just trying to get out of that pregnancy suit. I was just like,
did. It was real. It was all real.
that thing was so heavy. My back ached at the end of the day. Like, I seriously had such a newfound respect for pregnant ladies. Except I probably shouldn't say this, but I was smoking a cigarette on the corner. And and people were like so judgmental. And I was like trying to explain that it was like a fake baby.
No, wait, it's not.
I was like, it's not real, it's not real. It's like,
I never wanted it.
I really wish there were photos of this.
there probably are somewhere.
Awesome. You're all very active on social media. Speaking of photos, and I know that during the later seasons you got to really hear from the audience live on Twitter. What was it like getting actual reactions as they occurred to what was happening?
Well, today I learned that people film themselves reacting to watching shows.
It's reaction videos today.
I just learned this today. It's so good. It's so fun. Really? Yeah.
I feel like that would be so embarrassing if I filmed myself watching the show. And I'd be like...
This is really
dumb.
I
So
did
if I feel
reaction
like,
videos.
yeah, I mean, so like what we experienced was nothing compared to what's going on nowadays. People watching themselves watch things. I don't understand. What's next? Let themselves on the show. Yeah, like walk around. Yeah, just in the background, wandering about.
Was there any? Oh, do you have any answers?
No, I mean it was great. It was really good.
Yeah. Was there anything that you wanted to make sure we got to see, but there was no time, or it got cut, or it never was written?
Yeah, our love story. What the fuck?
It was so obvious.
We were sitting in the hospital. There was chemistry there.
Yeah.
I felt it.
Yeah.
It was palpable.
Yeah, I think it was just...
There's always wine out of her.
I don't think that could possibly be the story. It's like Tamsin and Lauren come to Winona to be a couple.
Loves all that time writing.
They'll be guests at the Way Hot
Oh,
wedding.
hi, who are you? I'm Smamson. Really? Yeah, I am.
My words just pop out because I'm nervous.
Alternate universe.
I feel like there's stuff that definitely got cut.
Yeah.
For me, from the writing perspective, like what?
Yeah.
Some stuff about the Wanderer, like who that guy was.
Yeah.
He was the wanderer.
Yeah,
He wandered.
Do you remember the card?
Oh, that's my favorite scene.
Yeah, that was amazing.
So
I know.
incredible. Do you remember how hot it was that day?
I don't think I was there, but.
Yeah, stuff gets cut all the time, but I mean, we'll say I was really happy with everything. I left for the final season, so it was so interesting to see where it went, and
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was Michael Grassi then.
Yeah, and it was great.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good guy, good writer.
Yeah, good guy.
Good guy, good guy.
He's a murderer.
Check him out, check him out.
Check him out. And Veronica.
Emily, what would you like to see in the final season?
I guess I feel like
Yeah, like how did Michael mess it up?
Get a notepad. Get a notepad. One.
We loved the final season, right? We weren't happy with the final season, but we
You
loved
could
it.
have added one thing.
Or taken
Or
one
take it.
time.
I feel like given the audience, I would say more Tamsin and Lauren, obviously. No, I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was great to give Bo a sister. I thought it was good that it came down to her father. I mean, you actually, the longer a show goes, the less choices on some level you have about where it can go. So I wish you guys had gotten like $5 billion at the end to just blow up everything and blow up the Dow and everything. Just more explosions is my answer. More explosions. But I thought...
Didn't somebody walk through the wall of the doll? Giant.
Like one of the crew members?
Accidentally drunk? No, not him. Totally different thing. No, Rob Archer.
Oh yeah.
He came
Oh,
flying.
yeah.
It was burning in flames.
Yeah.
And then he, I forget his name on the show. I know his real name.
Steve. No, it wasn't Steve.
Bruce.
Yeah. Dyson's holding up the thing, and it's fire, and he blazes through a wall.
Yeah.
How did we get onto that?
I don't know.
It's hard because like it's the last season I just watched as a fan. I was like, oh, this is cool because like I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Oh my God, what's going on?
Who's that? What's happening now?
That doctor is unbelievable.
She has got hot pants. Hopefully.
You've had some amazing people come through that show. Right, in the final season, Eric Roberts was her father. What? No, okay, I'm the only one who was super impressed by that. But you also, I mean, as a wonderful Canadian sci-fi show, and there are currently a bunch of great Canadian sci-fi shows that do share a lot of the characters, the actors from Lost Girl. What are the chances they're all in the same universe and we're going to have a massive crossover?
50-50. Yeah, we had some really fun guest stars on the show, like Keisha, Linda Hamilton was so amazing. She's such an incredible person too. She's so like honest and just such a great energy on set. We had George Takei, who was super fun. And it was so funny, like George Takei is like such a distinguished gentleman, and then he was like in like half a green suit because he was a snake, and he was like, hello, I'm George Takei. And like wearing green leggings, and I was like, oh, like Star Trek there. I'm sorry I put you in that outfit. Yeah,
I'm sure he thanked you for putting
it's
it
funny.
on.
I guess to the rest of the world, the Canadian acting pool seems smallish. Amazing. No shit. Look at these cheeks.
There's just less people.
There's less
in
people.
Canada.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Technically, if you're gonna do math, I guess fine. I'm told there be no math.
Well, like the cast, some of your cast has gone on to Dark Matter, to Dragons. Brain. I really believe that they're all in the same universe. I don't want to see it.
Brain has like absolutely nothing to do with that universe.
I disagree. It is the history of that universe. I have thought this thoroughly through.
It doesn't fit here.
Brain absolutely fits. I will draw you.
You fit everywhere.
This is a Lost Girl Rain fanfiction.
Yeah.
But if there is Lost Girl Torchwood fanfiction, then no one ever thought about Captain Jack and Poe? Come on. Think about it now.
No, it's only Yanto.
Too soon! I know that we have a lot of fans who have questions.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's going to be speaking, so I'm going to ask you to start a little line in this aisle, and I will come down with a microphone. But while you're all setting up for that, I'm going to ask you all the questions. I know that on the show we had the episode where our characters switched places with each other. But if you could play a different character, if you could play a character, who would you want to play on the show?
It's hard for me, sorry.
Look away.
It's hard for me to pick anyone but Bo, right? Like, she gets to have the most fun, so to speak.
Fun is me, by the way.
In the leather vests and
Everything.
in the leather pants.
Those bustiers.
And the kimonos. Sorry. What am I talking about?
Nice visual.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was only looking at my phone because I tried to call Anna on her panel, and I texted her before this panel to say, "Where are you at?" I haven't heard back yet, so she was like, "Who is this?"
So I know you got to be another character in the episode where everyone switched, but who would you want to?
So great. When you have the dreads.
Yeah.
Who would you?
When I was stoned.
Yeah.
Who would you want to play if you could play a different character?
I don't really know. I don't know, because like every one of them is sort of extraordinary. Like I'd love to play Kenzie. I'd love to play. I mean, like Rachel's character was amazing.
Yes.
Vex. Like I'd like to do every one of them. Like we shot for how many days in an
How about the
episode?
Morgan?
6 days, 7 days. Okay.
7.
So I would just each day just play some of them. Yeah.
I really want to see Lost Girl all played by Zoie.
I can assure you that would not be a show that would last very long.
It's good enough for Tatiana. It's good enough for you.
So
You could do it though. You could do like a one-man show. Like I could do it.
All right, do it.
Oh shit. Ready. That was like Anna, but that was terrible.
I want to see. We're still missing Lauren.
We're missing so many people. I know. I can't do anything now. I don't even know what you're doing. I literally just
felt that head rush sucking. I don't know how I did
I
that.
pretend you ran into script at 3 a.m.
There's gotta be a lot of that.
You could do all. You could all. It's like one of those times when I always open my mouth too fast and then I'm like, shit.
It started with, no, I could do it right now. Okay.
I believe you can absolutely do it. We see you on Dark Matter. First of all, playing an android,
Yeah.
which you've heard me praise how ridiculously awesome it is. And you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
You
That's not really new, I promise.
But we see the other person. We get to see the other you. So I think you absolutely could do this. And I challenge you. I'm challenging
I promise you, like,
It's not gonna happen.
the casting on Lost Girl was, I think, some of the best casting we've ever seen on
Yeah.
television. I really mean this with everything I am. There is nobody that could have played Dyson,
Yeah.
but Chris
Oh,
Hogan.
yeah.
It was Zoie that could have played Vex, but Paul Amos, and Kenzie but Ksenia. And I am so lucky to have managed to be on a show with the kind of talent. I mean, I'm sitting next to one of the most talented actresses. So there's no part of me that wants to take on those played by the brilliant people that played them. They were extraordinary.
I tried and failed, so. It is really true, because I would say Vex, like, because, it's like, I play Vex. But what made Vex great was Paul.
Yeah.
If I had done that, Vex would not have been great. And same with Kenzie, or like any of the characters. The people who played them brought them.
They really brought them to life.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to take some fan questions now.
Hello. You guys reminded me, I forgot, I did film myself watching the finale of Lost Girl and I was drunk and sobbing, so but Emily, what would your pitch be for a movie, the Lost Girl movie?
That's a great question.
Oh my God, right now.
Come on! Where would we start? I guess just with that. Like, would we start before it all? Would we start after it all? Or would we
Like the biggest empty in the real scene. Like, nope, we're not doing that. No. I guess we'd start after the series finished.
Really?
Maybe.
Dancing to come back.
Everyone has notes. I love how everyone already has notes. All right.
Might I suggest that Tamsin's baby's grown up and
Yeah,
happens to
I know.
look just like Tamsin?
Wow, you look so much like your mom. Yeah, you look exactly like your mom. Exactly like your mom.
It's uncanny. It's crazy.
I'm pretty into sister stories right now. So maybe pitting Bo and Tamsin's daughter against each other as they struggle between light and dark.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
You mind there too.
You know,
You're
blah, 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 blah.
You're like stitching people up and hiding your emotions. A lot of staring longingly at Bo.
Yeah.
You can drive the car. You can drive the other car.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Totally do that. I'll drive the car.
I'm buying tickets and watching this movie. We have another question.
All right, so this is for Lauren. If at the time that you found out about Tamsin, whenever she was with Bo, a little bit, and she got bit by a snake in the mouth, would you still suck the venom out?
Yes!
I get bit by a snake in the mouth.
Should we talk about that?
Thank you.
It can happen on the show.
I'm drunk and real gay, so it works.
Here's what I think about that. I think Laura's the kind of person that would suck the venom out of anyone's mouth and then later on go, oh my God. I think she would impulsively get right in there and then later on be horrified.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Wait, let's go back to a snake biting.
The snake thought you had a good mouth. And
Alright, that's good.
I thought it was George Takei. Thank you. We have another question.
So I'm Team Tamsin.
Somebody should be.
I had a lot of fun watching the episode where you guys were all teenagers. I imagine it was a lot of fun to film. Do you have a favorite scene that was really worth talking about?
That scene actually, Chris and I just felt like idiots the whole time, because Anna played being young. She was she is so sweet, and then when she was young, she's this little teenager, you're just like, I love you. And Chris and I we just look like goons. We're just like, hey, ha ha. But it ended up coming off fine. And that was also a great scene because he had to sing "Hungry Like a Wolf," and he was so nervous.
He was
about
very
it.
nervous about that.
Yeah, so not only was he only eating apples all day because he wanted to have ripped abs, but
I'm so gonna kill you for that.
then they were pretty good. And then I was walking by the trailers, and his door was open a little bit, and I saw him practicing in his gym. So then we just
No, what I mean is he's going to kill you for that.
So Anne and I were like sitting there having to watch him do this, like, you know, basically being very embarrassed, just like, I can't believe this is our job. Like, we literally just get to sit here and watch Chris make blood. That scene was really fun.
You got to play a teenager again later on, a teenage version of yourself. Did you go back and watch that episode and go, how did I do it? Or did you go, yeah, I got this. I remember being a teenager.
I was like, I got this.
That's what I thought.
All right, so my original question about the role song was answered by Tygiel. So my next question is, so Valkyries happened a little bit later in the series. Was it inevitable, or was it something that developed to reinforce everybody's love for Docubus, or was it a plan to get Anna Silk to make out with every cast member?
Put these good-looking people together, and you're like,
Sooner or later, they're going to make out.
let's try it. Let's try it. Do we need a snake bite? No. Let's just make it.
That was the correct answer.
I don't know. I think it's like, I mean, it's not really my decision. It's usually something that happens in the writer's room. And I would imagine, though, that sometimes, like, I think originally Chris and I were supposed to have a romance. And that's how I screen tested with Chris to see if we had chemistry. And then I think as we worked together, we just had more of a sort of sibling dynamic. Like, that was our chemistry rather than romance. And they were like, scratch that. That's just awkward and weird. And so it's sort of how chemistry develops with people on set and in the stories and as it goes along.
Do you know what I do love about the writing on this show was that was possible. Was that, you know, they would have an idea and they would watch, and really the intuition, like I can't stress how extraordinary that is, to be able to watch different actors and to watch different dynamics and to figure out, okay, this is working, that's not, and the amount of work that goes into figuring that out and to sort of, you know, having it evolve the way that it did and worked was absolutely 100%, you know, Emily and team watching really closely and figuring it out, like, this is working, this isn't, okay, we go back, we do this, like, it's a big deal for them to be able, because not all shows can figure that out, you know?
You're right, we had a show where those kind of changes were possible, right? And that show really taught me, Law School really taught me that you can have a plan, but you need to be open. You need to be, with a cast this extraordinary, you really have to watch what they're giving you and play to those strengths, because then you're going to look like a genius, because let's put these two together, they're so good together. So that's what Lost Girl gave me in return, because you guys were so strong. I was like, let's whip this up. And it worked.
We're so great.
I know.
Hi Rachel, hi Zoe, hi Emily. My name is Tygiel. I'm Noah. And I have a question for Emily, because whether you know or not, we're going to be working together pretty soon.
Really?
Yes. My partner right here, Amanda Moon. We are co-founders of High Tide Entertainment, which is a unique production company that offers culturally diverse content to foster the importance of difference in our society.
Okay.
And our question to you is it difficult to pitch queer content to network, and what is your approach?
Not in Canada.
Yes. It's still hard. It's still hard again. Yes, it's still hard. Yes, it's hard, but you just gotta go for it. You just gotta go for it. I think it comes down to good storytelling. If the storytelling is good and the show is so compelling, and having queer storylines or LGBT characters is part of truly your vision, you have to just know what your line in the sand is. Like on both my shows, again, Oscar was not created by me, but I was lucky enough to inherit it. But with Winona, for example, I just knew it was non-negotiable. You know, I knew there was lots of stuff that I was going to negotiate and would be able to compromise on, but I knew that certain relationships had to exist to make the show have the tone and the feeling I wanted it to. So, yes, it's still difficult, but I have said this again, and I said this yesterday, and given the nature of this con, I really want you all to hear this, is like, now is the time. Like, you are living proof that there's an audience for this. And you know what, there's 500 shows out there, and everyone is actually desperate for content that makes its mark and finds an audience that isn't being serviced elsewhere, you just show them a picture of this, you got it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's okay, there is an audience for this. So if you have LGBT or diverse content that you want to pitch, please, I encourage you now, given the landscape, this is the time to do it. Get out there, people are hungry for it, and if they're not listening to you, the decision makers, they're going to be left behind. So it's happening so fast, and that's so good. So.
I just want to say something to you. Remember my face, remember our name, because we're going to be talking
Let's
to
say
you.
the name of your company one more time.
High Tide Entertainment.
Amazing. We're going to make the most
Yes.
of it. Okay, good.
So I'm a data scientist by profession. I can do math.
We knew that. Yeah.
The character of Lauren was really exciting to watch just because, not just that she was making science sexy and getting excited about science and making science plot, but on a regular basis, she would literally go out there and stab people with science. Like, she was not just a cue in the back room saying, okay, here, vote, here's the science you need this time. Like, she was in the ballroom, in the dress, honeypotting Morgan, like, she was a science hacker.
She took her pants off to deliver a baby. Do you guys remember?
So we're seeing more characters.
I took my pants off.
For science.
For science.
Somebody better use that as a pickup line.
So we're seeing more characters like this nowadays. Holtzman and Ghostbusters, LaFontaine and Carmella. What will it take to get more science action heroines? And Zoe, would you mind being typecast?
I wouldn't mind at all. No, I wouldn't mind at all. I do wish we had the catchphrase, I'm stabbing people with science. Because that's pretty cool.
I'll make it a hashtag.
Yeah, stabbing people with science.
Don't you feel like science is dangerous right now, though? Like, people are pretending it doesn't exist, so like maybe you can pitch it as like underdog superheroes, because you're like, they use science, and it's like, can they do that?
Pitched him in the show to sci-fi.
These guys are going to help me make it.
So this question is for Zoe. So obviously you went from Lost Girl to Dark Matter, and on both of them you're playing these very scientific, very intelligent characters. But on Lost Girl,
Just playing to my strengths.
of course. On Lost Girl, obviously, even though Lauren can be reserved, she's a sensual character and she has these very complex emotions. And then you went to playing the android who has no emotions and no sex drive. And what was it like for you, going?
I'm not going to lie, that hit.
I didn't write the character.
Have you seen season 2? I believe the android gets a sex drive.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question, and it was definitely a big transition. It was a very, very big transition, which I'm still in the middle of. But yeah, I mean, I think what was exciting about that challenge was to figure out how to convey a sexuality and how to convey emotion without all of the tools that I so readily rely on as an actor. And so the interesting part about that for me was to figure out how to have the audience, empathize with the android, and how to have the audience possibly go, wow, like, is there a sexuality there? Like, was that, what did I just see? Like, and so that was what was interesting about that character in the beginning, was to what can I do without any tools? Like, what can I deliver? And so that was the interesting thing about that character.
Thank you. Rachel, I want to know about some similarities and differences between Tamsin and the Queen. Because they're both
I
very...
think we only have like 5 or 10 minutes.
They both feel very regal.
Just do the similarities? None. Thank you. Next question.
Yeah, they were so different. It was actually quite different because I finished Lost Girl and then started Reign, I think 3 months later. And I'd been so sort of immersed in just being Tamsin, and ended up taking on qualities within myself of Tamsin and vice versa, and the line sometimes blurs a bit, and I then am thrown into Rain, and I have an accent and a corset, and I'm playing a character who's not a character at all. She's a real woman who everyone knows all this history about and has ideas about. But one specific scene that we were filming, and I guess I kept rolling my eyes, and the director came up to me and he was like, "So I don't really think Queen Elizabeth does the eye roll." And in that moment, I was like, "Oh shit, that's Tamsin." So it was hard to switch gears almost. But then I did it. Now sometimes when I get mad, my brother says I go full British. So I'll just get mad and start speaking in a British accent. I don't even know what it is. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what's next.
I like that you point out the corset, because I feel like Tamsin, had you wanted a corset on Lost Girl, Tamsin would have gotten a corset right away.
No, I don't think so at all. Tamsin would have worn a corset. She'd be like, "What's this shit? I don't know what it is." This is bullshit.
Yeah, so good. Like, maybe I just want Tamsin. Sorry, sometimes I get projected. My bad.
Hi, this is a question for Emily. One of the things I really liked about Lost Girl was the tagline, "I live the life I choose." Yeah. I also watched Winona Earp, and I'm watching Winona.
It's good.
It's a good show, right? Winona is sorting out her own calling. Do you like stories about? Is this you liking stories about sorting out vocation? But that's also a thing that happens in hero stories. Is it because you're writing hero stories, or is it because you really like watching people wrestle with their calling?
Maybe both.
Or yes.
I'm really interested in outsider stories, and I'm really interested in the idea of the constant fight. No one in this room is going to understand this, but the constant fight to become who you want to be versus who society tells you you're supposed to be. I'm just really interested in that with all my characters, because I think that's what it is to be human. Sort of is really how do you define yourself, and do you get to say who you are and what your own journey is and stuff like that. So there's definitely similarities, but that's okay, right? That's all right. I love that particularly about Lost Girl, and I feel like you really saw that with every single character on Lost Girl. They were really trying to become who they wanted to be and fight expectations of being a Valkyrie or a human or whatnot.
That was with every character on that show.
Yeah.
It was them figuring out who they were constantly each day.
Except Kenzie. She was like, "I'm Kenzie."
I think even Kenzie had a discovery story. I was like, does no one remember when she wanted magic?
Yeah.
And she was Jubilee?
Yeah, I love that.
It was the best. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you guys so much for everything you do. This is mostly for Emily, but also for everybody here. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the sci-fi genre in general, how it seems to be so much more inclusive, and the industry as a whole seems to be more receptive to your pitches and your stories, and our stories. And if that has something to do with the suspension of disbelief already that we have with the different world and different rules, or if you have any theories or thoughts about any of that.
Yeah, I think genre has two things going for it. One thing is certainly the genre I like to write, regardless of the fact that people are going through life and death struggles. I like it to be quite joyous and kind of people striving for a better world, and you see that on things like Star Trek. So I certainly think a better world would be one where we're more inclusive of people in general. But I also think the truth about genre is it's naturally a home for outsiders, right? It's never better than to have a character who's like, what are all these aliens doing here? That's basically what sci-fi is, right? Is people who are kind of in awe of their world and trying to find their place, quite literally. So as far as diversity, it just seems to be a home for people who maybe seem or feel like natural outsiders already in our society. So there's a little bit of a trick with genre, I find, when you're pitching. Because the world seems exaggerated, as you said, people just tend to be more open-minded because nobody knows what the future is like or what space is like. So it is a home.
But I never hear, nobody would ever...
Oh, yeah, except the famous network note, which is immersion would never say that, which is like, if there's one, I'm like, how do you know? But, I was going to say something else. I just said something smart. No, it's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but yes, it's definitely more open for that. So, I know what I was going to say, which was totally a compliment, which is I also think genre audiences are incredibly smart. I really generally do. They kind of can take big leaps as far as storytelling and extreme situations. So they just tend to be more open-minded in general. So,
I agree.
and good looking. Woo!
Obviously.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Hi, Anna. Oh, good name.
Yeah, thank you. My favorite parts of Lost Girl, outside Bo having sex with everyone, was watching Lauren and Dyson vie for Bo's attention and the banter that came between them trying to do that, because they're not entirely cruel to one another, because Lauren understands she needs Dyson because she knows that she won't kill him when she has sex with him, but Dyson also understands that Bo really cares for Lauren and wants to be with her as well. But the greatest example I saw of this was in season 4 with the slow motion Bo washing the cars. How and where did the idea for that come up? Because it was brilliant.
Enough brain. Sexy stuff. I think it's funny to me. So when you hold an ice cream in the mouth.
It did not contain ice cream.
That's right. I think I've seen like Cool Hand Luke, and there's kind of a famous car scene in that, and I was like, oh, this. It was a good sort of portrayal. It was thinking about a teaser as like an encapsulation of the series as a whole. Do you know what I mean? Like you were like, okay, there's 30 seconds for the network that tells you sort of what the show is about. That's what this seemed like.
There was a lot of bubbles.
There was a lot of bubbles. Oh my god, Anna's look was so, I actually remember that day.
Yeah.
And Anna's like so sweet and obviously so naturally sexy, but like it was one of the only times I've had to go up to her and say, can you do it sexily? Like, use your bosoms. And Anna's look was like, yep.
Watch this.
And we did. We all watched it.
We all thank you for asking her to do that. Zoe, what was it if it wasn't ice cream, and what was going down your hand?
Well, I think
It was not dirty.
I think it was vegan.
Yeah.
Vegan-y. Yeah. So I was so excited because I read the script and I was like, oh my god. Like, it takes a long time to do a scene. So I was like, I'm going to be eating ice cream for like hours. And it was awful. What is this? They're like, well, so Anna's, you know, and you have to, and I'm like, no. I don't know. Somebody couldn't have ice cream. It was real ice cream.
You have to have vegan ice cream and
Oh,
vegan ice cream.
no, here's what it is that I think that because Anna was in most scenes on the show, whenever something was on set food, it was just innately made to be vegan food. And then I come along and I'm like, can I have ice cream? Please. So that's what happened. I was like, is this Anna's? She's writhing all over the car. Do you mind if I have some ice cream?
You come on Winona River.
Yeah.
You can roll around.
Yeah.
In a big vat of ice cream.
Oh my god.
That sounds good.
It's true. And then it's like a
Now
night.
you'll be in a vat of ice cream.
It's like 8 hours. It's like I've never done it. But I imagine it's a bit like whipped cream with sex.
Good idea on paper. It's a good idea on paper.
Because I often see it on paper.
Sketch set. You're all thinking about it now.
We have another question. If you all could stop thinking about it.
I still am. I got a cue from Rachel, a request.
Yes.
I think we're all pretty into that dance-off scene, and I was wondering if we could see some of
Fuck's
that.
sake.
Who was doing that beat?
I was like, going forward like this.
Is such a brilliant dancer and so focused and talented, and they were like, and when they asked us to do a dance off, in my mind I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to have to dance against the sinners. No, this is not very good. And they were like, can you dance badly? Yeah. And I'm like, every Saturday night. So that was choreographed, but like the jazz hands,
So
all
good.
good.
Your face in that scene is so good too. You're so sincere. It's just like, oh, it's amazing.
Well, that's because it wasn't serious.
Your cast is so talented, not just as actors, but Ksenia as a dancer. Were there any skills that you have that you were like, can we do this? I really want to show off that I can do this. Zoe. I just feel like Zoe has some.
I don't know. I always wanted to do a scene where we just found Lauren at a club. Like just raving.
I thought you meant like at a club because we saw her singing and dancing.
Yeah. You mean Flora?
Flora.
Yeah, but that wasn't Laura. That was
Flora.
yeah.
I see.
But yeah, I just thought like I just always we once upon a time mentioned After Hours Lauren. I kept thinking, what does that look like? What does that really look like? But no, I don't know. Did you? Was there something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with football movies. Like, I actually don't know anything about football. Like, I don't understand the game. But I love football movies. It's really weird. And I really loved that, like, when I got to be a cheerleader and a football player. Yeah, it was so much fun. And then we had this, actually, never mind, I can't tell the story. It's, like, a little weird. You
can't tell it.
You can't leave it with that.
There was they hired this football team to come in and play. And like in high school, I was not like the cool kid.
No actor ever is, by the way.
Yeah, never. And you know, there were like boys that I liked, and like they never noticed me, and I'd like know their whole schedule and like stalk them. And anyway, so I'm playing football, and they hired this like high school football team. And at the end, the quarterback was like, "So, might be moving to LA next year to go play football. Want to go on a date?" Honestly, there was a moment where I was like, "Yes, I do." And I had to be like, "But you were 12 years younger than me, so yeah, sorry." But yeah, it was basically just like my whole, the whole.
You were immediately validated from high school.
I was. Like my 15-year-old self was just like. So that was fun. Anyway.
Yeah. Emily, were there any skills that you wanted to write in for someone, but they couldn't do it?
No, there was nothing they could not do. I kept trying. I kept putting stuff in and being like, "You do this." No, it was such an incredibly talented cast, and they were so game. Like they were so dedicated to the show. I really always felt like that. We had fun.
We totally did.
Right?
Really
We had fun.
did.
So they were always like, "Yeah, we'll try it. We'll do it." It was such an amazing show because you could try stuff.
Yeah.
No.
It was a try stuff show.
It was a try stuff show,
and I say that, but it really was. It was very.
It's really
cool.
unique.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It feels like that should have been the slogan. It's a try stuff show.
Oh, no, that's a bit like
try, but it is try.
I mean, Bo was just gonna try stuff. I was like, I'm gonna try stuff. Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
And tonight we have the cocktails for change. We have the sinful party. Rumor is you never know who's going to show up. Hint, hint, I think you all should go.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
watching, you guys, Lost Girl, and for still being here.
When does Winona Earp start back up?
Soon.
So, tune in for soon.
You're going to hear from us.
Hey, Netflix on Disney.
beer name?
Hey, good.